Welcome to the Fire Sprinkler Podcast with Chris Logan. Hey everybody, and thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Fire Sprinkler Podcast. Today's episode is an interview with Drew Slocum from Inspect Point. He goes over the inspection software, how to use it, how to set it up, the benefits to having it, all that kind of stuff. It was a great conversation. Went long compared to the other episodes of the Fire Sprinkler Podcast, typically around 7 minutes. This one, I think, sits at the final product around 26, so buckle up. Thanks to everybody for all the support. I've got hats coming soon. I made a sample hat. Oh, you can hear my dog in the background. I made a sample of the hat up and posted it. I'm going to be giving that hat away. That was just to get a feel for if anybody would be interested in purchasing the hats. I've had a lot of people reach out and message me and share, showing that they're interested in the hat. So I'm going to roll out with a couple hats. Might get some shirts made up, things like that. If you have something specific you want made up or you're interested in, feel free to send me a message on Facebook, Twitter, email chris@firesprinklerpodcast.com. I've got a new email up and running. Hashtag Fire Sprinkler Podcast with any sprinkler saves that are happening in your area so I can share them and get all the information out there. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy. Here we are with Drew Slocum from Inspect Point. Drew, who are you and where are you from?
Thanks for having me, Chris. I'm one of the co-founders of Inspect Point. Inspect Point's a fire protection software / mobile app that runs all your fire protection inspection, testing, and maintenance and service needs. And where I came from, I worked for Tyco right out of school. Went to RPI in upstate New York. Went there for industrial engineering, process improvement, and was with Tyco for 10 years doing a lot of fire protection, a lot of manufacturing engineering, and then about 5 years ago, I went to work for Viking Corporation. Tyco is one of Tyco's biggest competitors. Worked in their New York City market for about 4 years, and then back in about 2015, some of the partner co-founders and I started this software, and it really took off. And I had to break away from Viking and really see this through, because I really do see a lot of potential and in the software, and it's going to help the fire protection community and contractors out significantly, I believe.
Yeah, what did you do when you worked for Tyco and Viking, just so that we can get kind of an idea of your background and where you're coming from?
Sure. Starting out with Tyco, I was a manufacturing engineer on their dry pipe valve line, the DPV1, really when I think it was first introduced, or at least it was starting to be manufactured in the U.S. So I did that. I went to Reno, Nevada, worked on their different valve line, but I worked in valves there, did some environmental health and safety with them. Then I moved to Allied Tube and Conduit. So I actually made sprinkler pipe for about 3 years. Got my Six Sigma black belt, which is like a big process control thing for manufacturing. That was great. And then I think in 2008, 2009, moved to the New York City area and started selling fire protection in the New York, New Jersey metro area market.
When you were working with Tyco and you were helping with the development of the DPV1, it wasn't your idea to put the external reset valve, external reset button on that valve, was it?
No, I wish it was.
No, come on. I'm not a big fan of the external reset on any of these valves. You got to get into the valve and you got to tear them apart. It's, I mean, I like when the maintenance guys press that plunger and try to reset the valve. Yeah, you can reset it and drain through the 2-inch, but if you got a fully tripped dry valve and the maintenance guy in the middle of the night was messing with the valve himself, I just, essentially I open up that 3/4 valve, tell him to give me the Wi-Fi password and a chair, and we got to wait till this drains.
That's a good call. Hey, it does have its pluses, but it also has its, his.
Yeah. It makes the valves almost. I like the valves. I like the DPV ones. You don't have a whole lot of issues with them. But I do think it makes it a little easier for people who don't know fire protection to attempt to know fire protection.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely.
But other than that, that's my only. And I understand that's the direction that's the direction everything's going, is making everything easier and external reset. But regardless, everybody out there, you do have to take that faceplate off anyways and take a look inside that valve.
Yeah, per NFP 25. Yep.
That's right. Yep. So speaking of NFPA 25, let's dig into. I'd like to start with the back end of this program. It's been around since 2015. You guys set it up. Approximately how many licenses do you guys have out there right now? How many people are using the program?
We have around 150 contractors that are currently on the platform. We do have some facilities as well that are using it.
Okay.
And it's all over the U.S. We have some in Latin America, up in Canada as well, out to Hawaii. Yeah, so it's all over the U.S. Really anywhere where you're utilizing NFPA 25, because we do have some. We do have the templates for everything fire protection, not just sprinkler. We did really start in sprinkler and kind of expanded quickly into alarm, extinguisher, suppression, and various other avenues.
Right. I used the program. I used the program once. I got a little trial from Drew. He hooked me up. Very intuitive, easy to get through. Anyways, let's start with the back end. What internally can you do in an how does your program help an office schedule his manpower? How much time does it take to, let's say I get a guy calls me up in the morning and says the fire marshal's on his ass and he needs his inspection done by the end of the day today. How easy is dispatching, scheduling, sending the guys there? How quick essentially can you set up an inspection on this app?
So there's two parts to the product. There's the back office, which you explained, and then the front end, which is iPad, iOS based in the field, which we can talk about in a second. But the back office, very intuitive. We're really focused on that, as well as the technician in the field. So essentially, it is cloud based. It's web based. So you would either add a building, or if you already had a building set up, you literally just click new inspection. You click what you're doing for the day, at what frequency. It's going to ask those specific questions, and as soon as you click save, and it's out it's to the iPad at that point for that technician. The technician then just has to refresh his iPad app, which has the ability to work offline as well. But you do need connection if you were sending them a new appointment. So they refresh their app, pops in, and they're off inspecting, literally within 20 to 30 seconds.
Right, and you have the ability with the app to you can even give directions from where they are now to the location using the app, right?
Yeah. So on the we really tried to focus the app, and we went iPad mainly because first of all, the easy use of iOS. I know not everybody's a fan of Apple, but it is really easy to use, the iPhones, the iPads. And we went on iPad because, when you're doing an inspection, you do need a big screen to look at all the questions and everything. So the technician has their schedule. They have all their buildings they're going to, what systems they're working on within those buildings, and what frequencies. So they have their schedule on the left side of the screen. There's a button, we just added this a couple months ago, where they click a button and opens up a map. It has a pinpoint of all their locations that they need to get to for the day or week or even month. They can click on that location and actually get driving directions directly to that. So, yeah, we try to make it more intuitive for the technician. We have offline capability with that. So if you are in the middle of a building, you can still complete an entire inspection without having service. As soon as you're done, if you want to get the data back to the back office, you do need a connection. We don't use much data, so you don't need a big cell phone coverage plan. But there's there's a bunch of other features and the reason we went iOS and iPad is literally every month we have 5 to 7 new products that we're launching, and that's all included with with Inspect Point. So as we come out with new products, the customers have access to those. You might not, and you necessarily don't need those. If you don't want to take the update, you don't need to take the update. But, and a lot of our ideas really are developed through our contractor base and our facility base, the ones performing the inspections every month. So we really take the voice of the customer, which is the technician or the back office personnel, to heart, and we try to, really launch new products that way.
Yep. Now, included with on the back end, you can attach previous inspection reports, things like that, on the back end, so that the tech has the inspection from the last year, the sprinkler inspection, the fire pump inspection, things like that, so they can do. They can check the fire pump curves to make sure that you're within the 5-10% from the previous year and things like that, and from the manufacturer's curve as well. All of these things can be attached on the back end so that everything's right at the tech's fingertips. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, we launched, we had fire pump curves, probably about a year and a half ago. And we're continuing to pick away and make that better. With the fire pump curve, we initially just had it on the report. We had the current curve about 6 to 9 months ago. We added the manufacturer's curve, and then the last year or the last time that fire pump was tested, so you can compare it. Along with that, we had the 5 last inspections at that building. So you actually can pull the reports. The technician in the field can pull the reports from the field, see all of the deficiencies on every fire protection system, all the questions that were answered, signatures, everything. So that's great for the technician's view. Back in August, we like a month ago, we released a new feature for deficiencies. So as an inspection's completed, if there's 10 open deficiencies on that building, a service ticket set out, maybe the building fixes 5. So the next time that technician goes out to that site or that building, he's going to see all those open deficiencies. So that's going to make the inspection quicker. Plus, you want to follow up to make sure the customer's actually followed up from your last inspection. So more vision into previous reports and previous deficiencies is really key for a technician's point of view, I think.
Right. Yeah. Makes it easier for the guys in the job to make sure things aren't getting overlooked, especially if it's something, a different set of eyes on an inspection every year goes a long way. That's what we do internally with our company, is we try not to have the same inspector doing the same inspection for more than 2 years. Just get a fresh set of eyes on it.
Wow. That's I like that. I've actually never heard of that. That's a great tool to get. You're right. Get a new set of eyes on anything.
Yeah, guys can get complacent with, they go into the same building. They can almost do the inspections in their sleep, but what they're not seeing is that one of the tenants, painted the walls, painted the ceilings, things like that. And it may not be a huge notice. The ceiling tiles or something like that were starting to turn yellow, so they painted the ceiling white, and 2 sprinklers over in the corner that didn't get covered properly. So that's what we like to do anyways, but that's not a requirement of NFPA 25, obviously.
Yeah.
Yep. So the how does it work on the back end with billing and estimates available? I was using it a little. Deficiencies, when you find a deficiency in the report, you can essentially instantly create an estimate or a quote to repair the deficiencies on site.
Yeah. So we try to keep it in the hands of the technician, which I think is important to really, the start of the process is the technician. You need to schedule it. So there is some customer facing and some back office stuff, but really if you can make it most efficient for the technician and the easiest for them to use, the whole process works better. But into that, you perform an NFPA 25 or whatever fire protection inspection you're doing. You want to be able to, when you're on site doing that inspection, hey, let's write up a few small service items or proposed corrections, we call them. So, hey, if a gauge needs replacement, if the spare head box doesn't have enough sprinklers in it, or a head wrench or FDC caps, some small items that we're able to write that up on the app inside the inspection very easily. We're able to track that, where you can even add pricing to that and get a customer signature even.
Right.
But on top of that, if they don't complete it, they have to come back to a full dry valve rebuild or whatever. They can add that. They can show the customer on site. That's immediately sent to the back office with the inspection report and all the deficiencies. The back office can easily create a proposal and send it off to the customer within minutes, really.
Right.
So we try to improve the process by eliminating a lot of those delays and getting all the information from that inspection, so we can make sure the service work and grow your service business.
Which is, I mean, the point of an inspection is to ensure that the sprinkler systems are working the way they're supposed to, but they're also, I mean, you can generate a lot of work from an inspection, right?
Yes, definitely. So we're continuing to improve our whole proposal and service platform. So we have some new advancements coming out in September. So yeah, I'll definitely show you once they're out, Chris.
Okay. Any sneak peeks we can let go at the end of the podcast here? Maybe we can get a couple, let a couple secrets out of the bag a little early.
Yeah. I mean, September, we've got new proposals coming out. So a customer can, when they get a proposal, either from the back office, usually it's going to be coming from the back office. But when the customer gets that email proposal, they can accept it through that email, through that file that's being sent to them. They can quickly accept it. It then is sent back to the back office, so we can start on the service ticket. So
wow,
that's going to instantly happen. So you're not having to bug, all of your customers. They can quickly accept it if they like the price and like what's being done. So that's coming out in September. We have some GPS features coming out on the app. So if a customer's skeptical on whether you were at a site or not, we're going to actually be grabbing some GPS coordinates of when that inspection was, when and where. We have when right now. We can time the inspection to see how long it took, but we also can show where and where it happened. So we're grabbing a geotag on that. So that's
right, and then they'll get like a check-in, check-out kind of GPS.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's neat.
You'll see that. Neat. So that's in September. We've got a bunch of advanced features coming out through the end of the year, but some of the future, really the next 6 months to a year, we're working on some Internet of Things technology. So IoT, it's called. We're trying to be in the forefront of that with the industry, and what that is, it's a lot of fire sprinkler systems and even suppression systems. They definitely talk to the fire alarm panel, but the sprinkler contractor nor the suppression contractor never get that information. So why not alert the contractor, 2 weeks ahead of an issue happening with a piece of equipment? So we've got some really cool technology coming out there in the next few months.
Yeah, that's interesting. So it's gonna, essentially, I'm not big on the fire alarm. I'm hoping to get somebody in that knows a little bit more on fire alarm. Just a little heads up. But what would it do? Like, kind of gauge the readings going through the wiring, going from the flow switch to the fire alarm panel, and if it senses a weakness, it can kind of give you a beforehand, like.
Yeah. So what do you?
However, that transfer of information is starting to slow down or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, what are your big? We're looking at the big troublesome systems, in fire protection, and one of those is dry and pre-action systems. There's always, we have the whole corrosion debate going on right now, which is I'm not going to put my 2 cents on that right now, but there's a lot of different viewpoints on that. But hey, let's give some insight to a drier pre-action system.
Right.
I won't get into details now, but we're going to be able to essentially monitor those systems. So if you do try to prevent either freeze-ups or false trips. So if you could give that to a customer, I think that's very valuable. So instead of sending a technician out at 2 a.m. on a Sunday night. Let's fix that problem 3 weeks beforehand.
Right. Yeah, that's not bad. Like maybe some sort of, I mean, this isn't anything that you guys would be coming into, but like a moisture sensor putting into the pipes, you can determine if there's too much moisture or excess moisture in a dry system or a pre-action system. I don't know how the science or technology would work with it, but something like that might could prevent a lot of damage.
Yeah, I think that would be key. And there's, I won't get too much into it, but it's, yeah, we're focusing on that.
Hmm.
Um, we've got some other ideas that we're working with some manufacturers or distributors
Hmm.
on the, when a technician's on site, all right, we need 10 lengths of pipe, 20 fittings. And this is coming from my Viking and Tyco side of the contractor's point of view. If we can get a list of material immediately, send it off for a quote, get it processed, and it's on the site the next day. So
Also, are you guys working on expanding into like a site maintenance or a site management software?
not site management, but just, when you're doing an inspection or,
Hmm.
if I need 10 different items, 20 different items, how are the technicians writing them down right now? They could be emailing
Right.
them, but a lot of times they're writing them down on a pad of paper. Hey, let's create a drop down list for them of, different sprinkler heads, different valves, different piece of pipe that can immediately be sent to the back office, which is then quoted, or is immediately sent to a local vendor, and it's on the truck either that day or the next day.
Hmm.
So, fixes happen faster. If a fix happens faster, you're getting the bill out to the customer faster.
Right, and you're getting paid faster, which is, I
Hopefully.
mean, essentially that's what everybody's doing here.
So, yeah, a lot of cool stuff coming out. Again, every month we're coming out with new items, and I definitely push everybody to, if they are interested, see a quick 20-30 minute demo of our product.
Yeah, and that 30-minute demo that we did prior was essentially all I needed in the field, or in the morning before I did the inspection. I did the inspection later that morning. I had set it up based on the 30-minute presentation you guys had done the week before. So you jam a lot of information, but the program is very intuitive and very easy to grasp. As far as I was concerned, it was as soon as that inspection's in there, you're up and running. Click inspect, click on the device you're looking at, the address, things like that. It was awesome. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, and we're trying to make it easier for there's a wide range of technicians out there. The easier we
Yep.
make it for the back office people and the technician in the field, most importantly, the easier we make it for them, the better the process works.
Right. Yep. Yeah, it's and I mean, like anything, there's things you can add, there's things you could take out. The good thing is that you were saying almost every month or every other month, you guys have an update, so you guys are constantly working to improve the product. You didn't put something out and just let it sit,
Right.
which is what I'm sure a lot of people have thought about the podcast since it's been about 3 months since I've released one. But here we are kicking things off with a fairly lengthy interview with Drew here from Inspect Point. Um, what else do you want to talk about? What else do you want to get into regarding Inspect Point?
Um, not necessarily in spec point, but just in general, the fire protection industry. I feel like it just needs some to push technology further. I think there's a
Yep.
lot of technology that's currently out there that's not being utilized in the industry, and a lot of it is driven off the code. Um, and a lot of the code was created not some of the deficiency in code in NFPA 25 and others. I'm not sure where a lot of it's come from.
Mm-hmm.
A 30-minute fill time for a dry pipe system, or um, just different values that we're creating deficiencies off of. Now, with us being able to gather data like this, not just from InspectPoint, but other software companies, we're able to
Mm-hmm.
really drive code after that. So if we see various deficiencies or various values of systems, we can drive the code to, why does it need to be a 30-minute fill time? Or leak rates on a dry system. Why is it 3 psi over 2 hours? Is it even that? So if we're grabbing data, we can really drive code from there, and I think that's really the right thing to do. So it proves it.
Right. So what is the general direction you see technology going in fire protection? What do you see? I mean, without letting too many of your secrets that you guys are working on out, or letting all your secrets out, whatever. What's the direction you see inspections, installations, everything going in fire protection? Not just from an inspect point of view, but just as an industry as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, the buildings are already getting smarter, and that's the whole IoT Internet of Things. So, HVAC is already doing it, lighting's already doing it. If you've probably been in office buildings where everything's dark, and then once you walk into a room, all the lights turn on. So, they're trying to make things more efficient and smarter. So you're trying to make smart devices to then give data back to the systems to respond to. So by attaching different devices on a fire protection system, you might not, it'll change the code because you might not need to inspect it as much, or you need to inspect it more because we're having all these deficiencies in this one area. So really, without the data, you're not, we're relying on the experts in the industry, which are definitely still needed and, come together as a group. But if we have the data with those experts, I think it's going to drive the industry further.
Right. So with Potter coming out with the essentially the remote testable devices, do you guys see InspectPoint kind of interfacing with manufacturers like Potter? Different alarm.
Yeah, definitely. We've already started talking with a bunch of manufacturers on how we can, because they're great at manufacturing, they're great at the devices, but the one thing nobody's really been great on is software. I didn't get into this, but InspectPoint, I'm kind of the big fire protection guru of the group, but everybody else are huge software people. They've been CTOs of companies, and they're big developers. So they're kind of ahead of the curve, coming into fire protection on software. So we're a bunch of software people getting into fire protection. A manufacturer is great at manufacturing. They shouldn't always be doing software. So by creating those partnerships, I think, it's only going to push the IoT and smart fire protection systems even more down the road.
Yep. Okay. Well, do you have anything else you want to say, or do you want to wrap her up now?
No, I'm really glad you're doing this podcast, because we had spun our wheels about it at InspectPoint in our office. And we're like, nobody's doing that next step with podcasting and some of the social media. Obviously, there's social media out there. You're doing a great job, but by doing this, I think you're just going to get more interest. You're going to get more experts and people in the industry to just start talking about things and getting that message out there to continue this. I think it's really important what you're doing, Chris.
No, thanks for all the support, and thanks for listening. Okay, Drew. So how do people learn more about InspectPoint? How do people get a hold of you? How do they stay in touch?
Yeah, pretty easy. We have lots of social channels: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, even Twitter. But really, the best is inspectpoint.com. Request a demo. You'll be in touch with myself. Click request a demo, and you'll be directed right toward me, and we'll get on a quick 15-minute call, 30-minute call, and go from there.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Drew.
Thanks a lot.
So there it is. That's the first interview done with the Fire Sprinkler Podcast. I appreciate Drew's continued support and for joining me on the podcast. I apologize for the technical difficulties we had leading up. Was having a hard time getting the recording function to operate when we started doing the podcast, but it sounded like everything kind of rolled out okay. If you're interested in getting in the podcast and talking sprinkler, feel free to get a hold of me on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Fire Sprinkler Podcast, hashtag Fire Sprinkler Podcast. If you want to learn more about Inspect Point, go to www.inspectpoint.com and visit them in Washington, D.C. at the AFSA 37 convention from September 30th to October 3rd. They're in booth 116. Thanks again, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.